Hi, I'm Jon Massmann with Isthmus Sailboards. Today we're going to talk about harness use and harness line placements on your boom to help first-timers that have never used a harness before or people that struggle with the harness have a clear understanding of the placement of the harness lines, how important that is, and how to wear your harness in the proper position. Today I'm wearing a waist harness by RRD. This is a higher hook height. That's the advantage of a waist harness. You can see that it sits in the swell of my back and basically sits around my navel area as far as positioning, high hook height. This is the type of harness, waist harnesses, that I'll recommend to most of our customers that are looking for proper stance, proper harness usage, and the easiest way to get into and out of harness lines. What's really important when you are putting harness lines onto a boom is the placement is relative to sail size and your sail type. So what we're trying to do is place the harness lines in the focal point of the pull of the sail. Where is the sweet spot for the sail? One way to gauge placement is look at the size of the sail. Take your hands, grab a hold of the front of the boom, and in this case it's a 5.0 sail size. This will get us in a general sense of the proper position to put the harness lines. So basically a 5.0, we're going to use 5 hand grips, so there's 3, 4, 5 as far as a starting point of our harness lines. Excuse these old harness lines on my boom here. You basically slide it to about that position. You can leave it fairly loose, and then about a 1/5 width behind that first line will be where you'll place your back harness line. This is generally the spacing that you want between your harness lines on modern gear. The sails have a more focal center point for the center of effort. Harness line placement is very key. When you set the harness lines, and you can do it a little loose to begin with, this is just a general perspective of where to go. Moving a harness line an inch forward, an inch back can make a dramatic difference in how the sail performs in the wind, relative to the wind and the pulling force. Same with the back of the boom. You'll just adjust one strap at a time, position-wise. Next, I'm going to show you how I set the harness line so I get it balanced when I'm using it and the wind is powered. So, when you go out windsurfing with your harness lines, the importance of a harness is it allows you to trim your sail, use your body weight to leverage against the sail, and now use your hands for trimming purposes. It conserves your energy while you're sailing, especially on a windy day, by using your body weight to leverage that sail versus sheer arm strength. Then, when you are not hooked in, you will have more energy to go through your transitions, whether it's a jibe, whether it's tacking, but a harness will help give you greater endurance and improve the performance of your board when you're under sail, because you're consistently trimming your sail with a harness use more than you are without a harness use. So, when placing the harness lines, the important thing to understand is when hooked in and sailing, if you can let go of your sail and it is relatively balanced, it's pulling directly away from the side of the board. In this case, you can see it's like swinging to the back. But in the wind, when you're harnessing the wind, if you can let go, you can just let go momentarily and notice which way the mast swings. If the mast and the sail come across the back end of the board, your harness lines are set too far back on the boom. When you hook in and the mast is pulling towards the wind, it means your harness lines are set too far forward So ultimately, we want to make it as easy on ourselves when we're hooked in, where we can let go and the sail is pulling directly away from us, not pitching one way or the other. Once again, subtle motion or positioning, 1 inch makes a big difference placement-wise as to how that sail will trim. Fortunately, we're doing this inside where you can't tell, there's no wind, but these are the signs to look for. So if you feel the sail just really falls away from you and is pulling across the back of the board, too far aft. If it's pulling towards the wind and you're out there sailing and you're always pushing on the front end of your boom, or your hands are forward of the harness lines, your harness lines are set too far forward. So get proper balance will make a big difference. When you are underway with a harness, you can see my back is kind of positioned upward. As I sail out and extend my body, you can see my shoulders are extending away from the boom. That's the proper position you want to be in when using a harness. Harness line length is subjective to what people like. I run shorter harness lines because I'm sailing in gusty conditions. Some people with consistent winds or sailing in the waves prefer longer harness lines. In this case, we have fixed loop lines. That's what I use. These are pretty short. The averages are going to be, say, 22 to 32 inches in length. So harness line length is subjective. Always set your boom close to shoulder height when you're windsurfing. And when you're underway with the harness, you'll be able to trim more consistently, save your energy, and also have better hull speed when you are sailing versus not having the harness and getting controlled by the wind more. It's much more physically demanding to sail without a harness. So learning to use a harness as soon as you can has its advantages. Hooking in, you basically raise your hips up, draw the harness line in to your spreader bar hook, and now you're underway. If you fall in and you're hooked in, keep peace of mind, presence of mind to just pull the harness line out of your hook. A lot of people are into quick release spreader bars. It's not going to matter if you're trapped under your sail. You just get that harness line out of your hook, get out from under your sail. Do the same thing on the other side. A lot of booms will have markings so you can correlate where the placement is to make it even on both sides. Once again, the gap here on modern sails is about a fist width or closer for proper pulling position. An inch either way with the harness lines makes a big difference of setting it too far aft, setting it too far forward. You want it to be nice and balanced, right? And there you have it. Harness 101, how to position the harness lines, proper stance, standing upright, driving the board through your legs. I prefer a waist harness because of stance and freedom of mobility to move around to water start. I don't have any straps between my legs. That's the advantage of a waist harness. If you have any questions, give us a call at Isthmus Sailboards, and we'll be happy to assist you in purchasing and give you pointers on placement for your harness lines in your sail size.